Aloha, I wanted to share the most obvious example of this co-opted awakening or orchestrated awakening and change that is happening as we speak, and how they're moving more and more towards these headpieces, the Hollywood co-opt and stuff I've been talking about in previous videos for the last like year or so, even longer than that. But how everything was so bad with Bush, they brought in Obama to shut everybody up. Now everything was so bad with Obama, they got to bring in another version to shut everybody up. It's an up and down frequency that is a layer of control that we are seeming like we're a part of when we vote, or seeming like we're a part of when we share stuff on social media, and seeming like it's for us when we have these Hollywood people who are just actors out there to push an agenda that feels, smells, and tastes like something that is for us, but is actually for the control grid itself. And these individuals who we trust, like Spike Lee, Cornel West, Susan Sarandon, Rosario Dawson, Leonardo DiCaprio, Hermione Granger, all these individuals that they're pulling out there now to put in your face as this is what change is, this is what change is looking like. It's all a big show, and it's out there to hide the fact that they are directly behind the creation of ISIS, directly behind the false flags, directly behind 9/11 and war in general. So they want to push this agenda of this is what change is, but never really go into the depths of how much change needs to occur to stop the deepest bleeds that are going and have been going on for centuries. So they get these people out there to yell and open up your heart and see this whole projection of change. And now that social media is not only in the younger generation, but it's also in the older generation, they have a platform to push further and further, which was the actual intent of social media, to push further and further the ideas of change into the future, just as they push these agendas of NASA and Discovery, so you can pay your taxes into NASA. They push these, oh yeah, in the next 10-20 years we're going to do this. There's nothing that Bernie Sanders can do to address this whole issue. In fact, he's not even there to do anything for that other than to distract you. Now, there's one of two things they can do. They can push this. They already started this co-opted revolution, this sort of, we're going to change for the better. So they're all in right now, especially when they have these videos of Spike Lee and pulling all their big people out there, Cornel West. They're putting these people out there to, and also with the even alternative news with TYT, Rosario Dawson. This whole thing it's a movie being played right now, so we already know how it's gonna look and what it's looking like. So they're gonna do one of two things. One thing they could do is push back, because they've already chosen who they want to be president, and this is just a show. So they can do one of two things. They can put the individual they want in there, whether it's Bernie or somebody else, to push the positive change movement and trigger that orchestrated version of positivity for change, which will still be a limitation grid. Or they can get all of us riled up for change and then drop the ball again, or whatever that phrase is, drop it, and then put somebody in there that will be counterproductive and against the change, which will trigger more and more fear, more and more disdain, more and more negative energy and emotion, and more whatever it is that will push some kind of other agenda. Either way, it's for the system as a whole and not for the people. The people, if the people want an actual change that is going into the roots. It has to come from taking everything into account that has led up to the enslavement of the peoples all over this earth plane itself. It's not going to come from a Spike Lee and a Bernie Sanders and all these other individuals out there. But since they are putting themselves out there right now in your face to make it look like this is what it's going to be like, then I will address it as such, just like anybody else should address it as such if they feel the same way, because this is not only a big issue, but it is very important that we start to share our ideas about how this stuff is put together, because it'll just be more and more of the same down the line, and the more and more people that get locked up into this, because this coming out today is going to lock a lot of people into this whole control grid of limitation. And I just wanted to share and kind of like do a little commentary over how it's put together, but you'll see it for yourself from basically how I did my introduction. But this is Spike Lee's Wake Up, Bernie Sanders. This is this orchestrated change that is coming. So there it is. It's the wake up. Like this is the awakening. This is supposedly the awakening. Wake up. Here's the younger generation.
United States of America.
The old school. So they start with the younger to the old generation. And they had this picture going around on Instagram where Harry Belafonte was sitting next to Dick Gregory, I believe, when Martin Luther King's funeral. So there's these subtle little things here and there that are going through social media and everything to get your subconscious memory, your subconscious mind triggered and sell these subliminal images. So they use these individuals who are either half informed or possibly fully informed, or not at all informed about this situation, just to make it look like something is changing.
Citizens is a shameful display of our power.
For hundreds of years, African
Try
Americans
to loosen
and
them
their
up, to boogie
allies
down.
stood up and fought back against racism, segregation, and bigotry.
We have been woke from the dream.
There's the woke again.
Dream of having our first black president.
So there's the first thing. It's like we had a good thing happen when Obama was in. What good was that? And then now everybody's gonna clap and be like, okay, we're all on the same page. Now what?
Only to find ourselves entering into a new era of mass incarceration and police brutality that we call the new Jim Crow.
People like Michael Brown,
As if they're going to address
and my
this.
father, Eric Garner, and the list goes on and on.
This campaign,
So they're using like people like you. So they put this is a show, and they use these individuals that they've sacrificed on screen. This is what really pisses me off. To sell a further enslavement agenda, they use the individuals that they have lynched literally on television and spread throughout that enslavement program in order to sell this agenda. This is already a proof to you that this is really fucked up. This is truly...
is listening to our brothers and sisters in the Latino community.
Okay, so first of all, the black and brown peoples don't refer to the true essence of the black and brown people, do not refer themselves as Latinos, but they're gonna get this in your face to further this agenda with this whole bilingual teaming up.
No está funcionando para ninguno de nosotros.
And the money that's made from the rigged economy is paying for their political campaigns. And they say they're going to fix things. Wake up, America. How are they going to fix
This is a political novella.
when they are profiting from a broken system?
What this campaign is about is telling Wall Street and the billionaire class, they cannot, they
So they
will
got
not
their
have it
enemies.
all.
They've been
We
priming their
want a
enemies.
government that represents all of us, not wealthy campaign contributors.
So they had to have their enemies. These last few years, these last forever, have been priming up for this moment of change. They've been getting their enemies out there, trying to get as much profit as they can off of doing their dirt from people not being in communication with each other, not being informed, being fully distracted. So now is the time that, since everybody is getting all this alternative information online through social media and through everything else, they gotta sell this orchestrated change, this orchestrated revolution to further a deeper agenda, a deeper enslavement.
Since the recession of 2008,
So they're using
we have
these
seen the
actors
erosion
and
of the black middle
actresses
class get worse.
to
We've not
sell
just
you.
lost
These
our
are
jobs,
actors.
we've lost the homes that we worked so hard
Just
to
like the
build.
crisis
So whether it's
actors
the fight for $15 an hour or
in the
for
false
affordable
flags.
housing, the policies that the next president enacts will either set us on a course towards poverty or...
So all the movies that have been going out there that you've been going and paying to go see every day, that get your emotions triggered up and down for the last however many years you've been going to the movies and it's been out. It's been priming up for this merge, for them to start using the people that they've been paying millions and millions of dollars. This is why they've been paying these actors millions and millions of dollars. And I wouldn't be surprised if they get these athletes to come out there, because this is that whole system of why they've been paid millions of dollars.
People should not have to
Whether
work.
this is the thing, whether they are aware of it or not, they are in this system fully being utilized to push an agenda.
2 or 3 jobs just to get by, and then after all of that, 58% of all new income goes to the top 1%. That's wrong.
We live in the greatest country in the world, and yet so many of our citizens can't get an education. And if
They're telling you greatest country in the world. Okay, according to who? If you ask the indigenous people on the way, they tell you the opposite of that. This the beginning. It's the opposite of that.
they end up paying their student loans
See
for
that
the rest
Bernie
of their lives.
shirt in the back?
Education
It's supposed
is
to
a
trigger
right,
that change.
not a privilege.
Instead
Yeah,
of schools,
pushing the
they build
education
prisons
agenda.
for profits
They got that
and
shirt
fill
right
them to
there.
the brim with more people than any other society in
That
history.
change.
We must disrupt the school to prison pipeline, reform our criminal justice system.
This is
The
a
time
diverse
is now.
campaign.
From Scotland, right? It's not a particularly rich country.
They gotta
It's
have the
not nearly
accents
as
in there.
wealthy
They
as the
gotta
United
have
States
the.
of America, for example. Yet everyone has access to free education and healthcare. Why do we have that in America?
We should not be
You
punishing
can see what they're trying to
people.
sell. These are all their doggy biscuits. This whole Spike Lee thing is a doggy biscuit video. It's just like free education, healthcare, all this other stuff. It's all layered in here. And I'm glad I saw this video.
For getting an education.
I think it was
Instead of
trending.
Giving tax breaks to billionaires or fighting wars we should not be fighting. We're going to be investing in housing and education and healthcare.
This election is not a popularity contest.
Here's Uncle Buck.
It's not about who you like or who you want to go have a
Or
beer
Crystal
with.
Fairy.
It's about our future. It's about our children.
What this campaign is about is creating a political revolution.
Exactly. That's it. It's a political revolution. It's not an organic revolution. It is not an indigenous revolution. It's not a human revolution. This is a political evolution.
Strong Island to Staten Island, Queens to the Boogie Down, became Manhattan.
You gotta sell it, Rosario. Put it out there. From the Boogie Down, you know, sell it. There you go. Love.
Moment in American history. We need my brother Bernie because he's a man of integrity.
Alright,
honesty,
whatever.
dignity, and
Don't look at me like that.
He's got a
Don't look at
vision
me like that when you
focuses
talking
on
some bullshit.
people.
Real change takes place when millions of people look around them and they say, you know what? The status quo is unacceptable.
We, the people of the United States,
There it is. They
in order
gotta
to
sell
form a
it.
more perfect union,
Emotional
establish
heartstrings.
justice,
Get the
ensure
kids
domestic
out there.
tranquility, provide for the common defense. promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves.
These kids are just actors too. They don't notice it. This is just they're just
for the United States of America.
repeating something somebody told them. This is a movie. Talk to the people.
Abraham Lincoln at Gettysburg. This is a campaign of the people, by the people.
So they got a Lincoln. And Killer Mike done already linked in Martin Luther King and the connection to Bernie Sanders.
I'm Bernie Sanders, and I approve this message.
There it is. So I just wanted to share this algorithm, this political revolution algorithm, and how it relates to why the flat earth stuff is coming out right now at this time frame, to prime for their next step for the United Nations Bernie Sanders, whoever that will be. So, because this is just the United States Bernie Sanders. They're getting ready to pull out a United Nations Bernie Sanders to lock in this whole flat earth stuff that's coming out and all the other conspiracies behind, because this is just one layer. This is just the cream, the filling on the top of the apple pie they're trying to sell all over the earth plane. But yeah, it's coming out. I see who is that? Danny Glover in there. They had Danny Glover down in Occupy Oakland one day talking about some stuff. We're like, what is Danny Glover doing here? And so they're using, they said they seed these individuals here and there to make you believe what it is, but basically to keep you dormant, to keep you from acting in your own space of empowerment, in your own space of understanding, and what is beyond that whole realm of bullshit they're getting ready to sell and already selling to people. So I just wanted to share that and get that out there. So thank you for joining me. Until next time, peace, love, and harmony.